I babysat their kids for free every weekend so they could fix their marriage. One Sunday, I came home to find my apartment broken into and my laptop gone. "We needed it more than you," she texted. I tracked the device. What I found in that motel room. I didn't grow up rich, but I learned early how to take care of myself. I work hard. I live simple. I don't expect handouts. I mind my business. That's why I said yes when my neighbors needed help. Tracy and Mike moved into the unit across the hall about a year ago. She introduced herself the first week, knocked on my door with her daughter on her hip and her son hanging onto her shirt. She was chatty, all over the place, and way too comfortable asking for things. Paper towels, coffee creamer. Even once, my Wi-Fi password when theirs was down. I didn't think much of it. I figured they were just struggling like most folks in this building. Rent isn't cheap here in Springfield, Missouri, and that complex isn't exactly luxury living. Then one Saturday, she knocked and asked if I could watch her kids for a couple hours while she and Mike went to counseling. "We really want to stay together for the kids," she said. "We're trying to work things out." I said sure. Cody and Harper were sweet kids. I gave them goldfish crackers and let them color. They were quiet and polite. It honestly felt good to help. I didn't have plans. I never do. The next weekend, same thing. Then the weekend after that. It slowly became a routine. Every Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes Fridays too. They drop the kids off with barely a thank you and disappear for hours. I never asked questions. But I started to notice things. They didn't look like people going to counseling. They looked like people going out to dinner. Once, I saw Tracy getting into a car in heels and a short dress. Another time, Mike came back smelling like weed and beer. But I kept my mouth shut. It wasn't my place. They told me they couldn't afford a sitter. Said they were saving their marriage. Said they were lucky to have someone like me. I didn't ask for money. Maybe I should have. Then last Sunday happened. It was late. I'd just gotten off my shift at the diner. I was tired, feet aching, carrying a leftover meatloaf sandwich I was planning to eat in bed. I got to my door, saw the lock was fine, but Bear, my cat, wasn't at the door waiting like usual. Inside, everything was wrong. Drawers dumped. Cushions thrown. My little TV gone. My laptop, the only thing I really care about besides Bear, gone. It had everything. Personal photos. Job applications. A story I'd been working on for over a year. I stood there frozen. My hands started shaking. I checked the windows, still locked. Then I saw the key hook. My spare key was missing. I sat on the floor and called the police. An officer came, looked around, asked questions. I told them about the spare key. I even mentioned that only one person knew where I kept it. While I was filling out the report, my phone buzzed. A text from Tracy. "We needed it more than you." I read it 5 times before I said anything. I showed it to the cop. He raised an eyebrow but said unless I had proof, it wasn't enough to accuse her. Proof. That's when I remembered I had Find My Device turned on. I opened the app and there it was, my laptop, pinging from a sleazy-looking motel, not even 15 minutes away. Room number 107. I told the cop. He said I should wait and file a full report Monday. But I couldn't. I called Nate. We used to go to school together. He's the kind of guy you call when something sketchy happens and you don't want to go alone. He didn't ask a lot of questions. Just said, "You want to go now?" So we went. And I swear, I wasn't ready for what I saw when that door opened. We parked in the lot behind the motel, so no one would see us right away. It was one of those cheap places, flickering neon sign, busted ice machine, the kind of place you'd expect to see drug deals, not marriage counseling. Nate stayed close. He had his hoodie up, hands in his pockets. I was shaking a little, but not from fear, from something else. Rage, maybe. Betrayal. I didn't say much. Just pointed to the room number my laptop was pinging from. 107. The curtains were closed. There was a car outside I didn't recognize, an old green Dodge with a cracked windshield. I knew Mike drove a truck, so this wasn't theirs. That made me hesitate. "What's the plan?" Nate asked. I pulled out my phone. "Just want to make sure it's in there." I'll knock. If they stole your shit, they won't just hand it back. I'm not asking. I knocked.
Light.
Then harder. No answer. I was about to turn around when the door opened. Not all the way. Just a crack. Enough for me to see her face. Tracy, wearing one of those big hotel towels. Hair wet. Her face dropped when she saw me. What the hell? She muttered, and tried to close the door. I blocked it with my foot. I know my laptop's in there. She looked like she was deciding whether to scream or slam the door in my face. Then I heard another voice behind her. Not Mike. A man laughing. Who is it? That's when I realized what was really going on. I pushed the door open just enough to get a better view. Inside was a mess. Empty bottles, takeout boxes, clothes on the floor. And on the desk, right next to a pack of cigarettes and an open bag of chips, my laptop. The guy stepped out from the bathroom. Mid-30s, tattoos down both arms, shirtless, wearing only jeans. He looked at me like I was an intruder, like I was the one crossing the line. Hey, he said, walking toward me. Back off. Nate stepped in fast. Don't touch her. Relax, the guy said, holding up his hands. Nobody's touching anybody. Tracy started to speak, but I cut her off. You used me. You left your kids with me for weeks so you could sneak off with him? She didn't say anything. Just looked at the ground. You stole from me, I said. You broke into my apartment. You don't get it, she said quietly. You live alone. You don't have mouths to feed. You took something that isn't yours, I said. I trusted you. Then she said it, the thing that really broke me. We didn't think you'd notice. I took a deep breath. I walked over, unplugged my laptop, and held it to my chest. I noticed, I said. Nate kept his eyes on the guy as we backed out the door. I didn't say anything else. I didn't need to. But I wasn't done. The motel part should have been the end of it. I got my laptop back. I should have let it go. But I couldn't. The more I thought about it, the more it ate at me. They'd used me. Lied to me. Left their kids with me while they snuck off to cheap motels with other people. And then they broke into my home. Took something of mine, like it didn't matter. And said I wouldn't even notice. That's not something I can forgive. I started watching them. Not in a creepy way, just noticing. Mike didn't seem to know. He was still dropping the kids off like nothing happened. Still thanking me in that tired, casual way. Still calling it counseling. Meanwhile, Tracy was avoiding eye contact. She didn't say a word to me.
Not sorry.
Not anything. She didn't even ask if I was okay after the break-in. It was like, in her mind, I didn't matter anymore. That's when I started writing things down.
Times. Days.
Notes on when the kids were dropped off. How long they were gone. What cars picked them up. Who they were with. I used a cheap little notebook I kept in my kitchen drawer. I wasn't sure why at first. But I had a feeling. One Saturday, Tracy didn't come home with Mike. He showed up to get the kids around noon and asked if I'd seen her. I told him I hadn't. He looked stressed. Said her phone was off. Said she'd been acting distant. I looked him dead in the eye and said, maybe she's with someone else. He blinked, like I'd slapped him. What? Mike, I said slowly. She's been lying to you. Every time you two said you were going to counseling, she was with another guy. At the motel on 6th. He just stared at me. He didn't get mad.
Didn't yell.
Just shut down. You're not kidding, he finally said. I shook my head. She stole from me. She said you both needed it more than me. I found her with him. She didn't even try to deny it. That broke something in him. He walked off without another word, didn't even take the kids. I watched him disappear down the stairs. A few days later, I saw him outside in the parking lot.
Drunk.
Sitting in his truck at 2 a.m. with the engine running and the headlights off. I thought about calling someone, but I didn't. 2 weeks went by. Then CPS showed up. They knocked on my door. I opened it to see two people with clipboards and polite, empty smiles. They asked me questions. About the kids. About Tracy and Mike. About how long I'd been babysitting. About whether I'd ever seen anything concerning. I told them the truth. All of it. I didn't exaggerate. I didn't hold back either. I told them Tracy and Mike had been leaving the kids alone some weekends. That sometimes they didn't even come back until late Sunday night. That one time Harper had a fever and I couldn't reach either parent for hours. That they never paid me. That I wasn't even sure who was watching them some weekends, because sometimes Mike would drop them off and then Tracy would pick them up like they were passing them back and forth without talking. The CPS workers thanked me, took notes, said they'd be in touch. A week later, I saw Tracy get arrested in the parking lot. Harper was crying in the back seat of the patrol car. Cody looked confused.
Scared.
I watched from my window as a second car came to take the kids. And still I wasn't done. After they took Tracy away, everything changed in the building. People who used to smile in the hallway now kept their heads down. Nobody asked questions, but they all saw it. Tracy in cuffs. CPS taking the kids. Mike nowhere in sight. A few days later, a property manager came around with a clipboard and started asking about unpaid rent. Word spread fast. Tracy and Mike hadn't paid in over 3 months. I guess they were too busy fixing their marriage to remember the bills. Or maybe they just stopped caring. The apartment across from mine sat empty for a week. Then early one morning, Mike came back. He looked wrecked, like he hadn't slept in days. Hair greasy, hoodie stained, eyes sunken. He didn't even knock. Just stood outside my door until I opened it. "I need to ask you something," he said. I didn't say anything. Just waited. "Did she really say she needed your laptop more than you?" he asked. I nodded. "That's word for word." He took a shaky breath. "She's trying to pin it all on me. The break-in, the neglect, the stuff with the kids. Says I made her do it. That she was scared of me." My jaw clenched. "Were you?" "No," he said fast. "I never laid a hand on her. Ever. She was the one who lied. She told me she was going to therapy, but she was sleeping with that guy for months. And I let it happen. I trusted her. I didn't say what I was thinking, that I knew exactly how that felt. She's trying to get out of everything," he continued. "She's saying I left the kids alone. That I knew about the motel and let it happen. That I broke into your place, not her. I'm gonna lose everything. The kids.
My job.
My record's clean, but that won't matter if this sticks." "Why are you telling me all this?" I asked. "Because they asked me if I wanted to press charges," he said. And I said no. I told them I didn't break in. That it was all her. But they're saying without more proof, it's just her word against mine. I was quiet for a minute. Then I walked to the drawer in my kitchen and pulled out the notebook. I handed it to him. "This is every weekend. Every time you or she dropped the kids off. Every pickup. Every time they weren't fed or came to me sick." I wrote it all down. Just in case. He flipped through it. His hands were shaking. This could save me," he said. "Maybe," I said. "Or at least show who really let those kids down." He nodded slowly. "Thank you." I didn't say "you're welcome." I didn't say anything. Because I wasn't doing it for him. I was doing it for Cody and Harper. They deserved better than what they got. But even after everything, after the motel, the cops, CPS, all of it, I still had one more thing to do. Something small. Quiet. But it mattered. A week after I gave Mike the notebook, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. Just my name, handwritten messy. Inside was a folded sheet of notebook paper.
No greeting, no apology, no explanation.
Just, "You ruined my life. I hope it was worth it."
No signature.
But I knew it was from her.
I stared at it for a long time.
Then I folded it back up, slid it into a drawer, and didn't touch it again. She thought I ruined her life. Not the motel stays. Not the lies. Not the break-in or the kids being taken away.
Me.
That was all I needed to know. A few days later, I ran into the building manager while checking my mail. He asked if I knew anyone who might want to take over Tracy and Mike's unit. "We're trying to get it cleaned up," he said. "It's a mess in there. They left food out. Crayons melted into the carpet. Looks like nobody cleaned in weeks." I didn't say anything, just nodded and walked away. That night, I stood outside their old apartment door, just looking. The hallway was quiet, empty. I opened my phone and looked at the last ping I'd saved from my laptop from that night at the motel. Then I deleted it. I thought about Cody and Harper, where they might be now. If they were scared, if they asked where I was. I didn't know what happened to them. No one told me. I wasn't family. I wasn't even a real babysitter. Just the person who showed up every weekend and stayed until someone remembered to come back. But I kept their drawings. The ones they made for me. The one where Harper wrote my name wrong in purple crayon. The one where Cody drew a stick figure version of us all watching cartoons. Those are taped inside my closet door. The things no one else would care about. I still see kids in the diner sometimes. Little ones coloring on napkins or climbing into booths with their stuffed animals. And for a second, I think I see Cody's messy hair or hear Harper's laugh. But it's never them. I don't know where they ended up. I don't know if they're okay. I just hope someone out there is sitting with them, giving them goldfish crackers and asking how their day was. And sometimes, late at night, I still hear that knock at the door, the first time Tracy asked for a favor, and I wonder why I didn't close it. But the truth is, I wanted to be needed, even if it was never real.